Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Games Are Hard. This is episode 17. We got me, Trey, along with Sid, no guest. Actually, our second no guest episode in a row just because we wanted to talk about the video I just released, and I mean, we don't know. We don't always need to follow the exact same structure the whole way.
I feel like we needed a decompress week.
Yeah.
Because last week was a lot of tough stuff to talk about.
Oh yeah.
And we were just we actually sent out an invite for a guest this week, and they took long enough to respond. They ended up responding, and we'll have them on next week. But they ended up taking long enough that Trey and I just kind of started talking to one another about, or you and I started talking to each other about we could just do, because after we recorded last week, you actually said to me, so next week we could just not do a guest. And I was like, huh.
Oh, I thought it was your idea.
No, it was yours. You
cool.
said it right after
idea.
we recorded. Yeah. And I was just like, yeah, and especially because your video came out and we want to talk about how that went.
A combination of things. My video on my main channel came out, and also my schedule is going to be kind of weird the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
So here we are.
It's guestless. Hey,
what
your video came out?
What video am I talking about per se? Before I get to that, I gotta say that our last episode, we were just mentioning how it was, a lot of hard material to cover. Of course, did exceptionally well because drama sells.
Yep.
And I'm not surprised by that. People just love to hear about drama. So
it's bittersweet.
I'm not surprised it got a lot of views at the same time. I mean, it's cool that it got out there to so many people. So
yeah, along the same vein of what we were talking about, there were a lot of nice comments in there. There was a specific one that I was just like, eh. But other than that, all the comments were good, and I got a bunch of DMs from random Sunshine players. Samu listened to the podcast, which was interesting to me.
Yeah, that was cool.
And he commented. And he was just like, oh, you guys are good. And I was like, okay, yeah, thanks.
Yo, you guys don't suck like I thought you did. Let's go. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, just a bunch of nice things said after that podcast. I was extremely nervous about that podcast.
I thought for sure. Well, actually, crazily enough, initially the video had a 58-0 like to dislike ratio. There wasn't a single dislike. I think it's still safe to say it's got 0 dislikes, because if you add up the number of people we talked about that episode that we essentially shit talked for good reason, it was more than the number of dislikes on the video. So we can safely assume that all the dislikes came from the people that we talked about in that video. Therefore, 0 dislikes, I'm proud to say.
Sure.
We did it, Reddit.
We did it.
It's like that thing where it's you see a music video, it'll have 20,000 likes and 200 dislikes, and the top comment is, 200 clowns saw this, or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
If the video is about some clown, I don't know why that was the example, but yeah. You know what I'm saying?
After we record podcasts, though, I get nervous. I've talked to you for mundane podcasts that, and I've been oh, what about did this sound weird when? Because you have to re-listen to every single one. And
there's always that thought of, was there something that someone's going to point out that it ruins everything somehow?
Yeah, because you have to re-listen to each pod and edit the audio to an extent, and you just kind of listen to it all the way through just to know if it's fine. And I sometimes I'm just nervous about a podcast. Even this podcast we're recording right now, I probably will be to some extent nervous about it before the podcast release. But after it was released last week, I was totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
the positivity, the response to it was amazing. So
yeah.
Thanks everyone for your kind words, and I thought it turned out pretty good.
Yeah, but before we released that podcast, you released a video on your channel that you actually talked about on the podcast that was just it's about to come out. And it came out actually before the podcast. Yeah,
I think that also contributed to the view count a little bit.
Maybe.
Because I released a video on my main channel, Average Trey VG, the Monday before. We release every episode on Tuesday. So literally a day after, it brought in some exposure from some new whatever subscribers might have seen the video in that time frame. So
yeah.
But yeah, the new video, it was the spin jump video called The Many Types of Spin Jumps.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you believe, see, the hardest part of making this video was actually coming up with that title.
Dude, we were shooting back and forth titles. As we were trying to name last week's podcast, we were shooting back and forth titles for that video.
Yeah.
At the same time. And I feel like I had some like good ideas. You had some good ideas, but you have ultimately just went with the basic one.
And you know what's funny? You know how we always say, like, so-and-so did this thing frame one, as in, like, as soon as possible they did this thing. Mm-hmm. Let's say, for example, that my whole time frame making this video from beginning to end, let's say that was a tool-assisted speedrun that's 100,000 frames long.
Sure.
I thought of this title, Frame 99,999.
Oh.
Like, literally, I was this close to just going with my original idea, which was Spin Jumps, a complete guide. And then very last minute before hitting public, I was like, oh, the many types of spin jumps. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think it turned out to be a good title. So, yeah.
Yeah. like I had a few suggestions where it was just like, what, the malleability of spin jumps or like,
oh, yeah, you had like some really
abstract
jumps. Stuff at the end. I was like, I don't know.
I was just like throwing shit at the wall. Like with brainstorming, I feel like you and I brainstorm really well where we just kind of like, we will never go like, oh, that idea sucks.
Yeah, we will throw stuff out that we know 100% is not going to be good.
But it'll get the conversation rolling.
Maybe you could go off of this idea a little bit. Maybe it'd be good. So
I remember throwing out a bunch of stinkers for the podcast idea last week, for the podcast title last week, that I knew were going to be bad. But like the idea to go from there, I wanted to go from.
Right.
And there's an art to brainstorming that we've like kind of figured out.
And I always see the title was the hard part. The thumbnail, which I ended up using, actually was my idea since like day one, essentially. Mm-hmm. I always knew I was going to use the same style as my. What's so funny?
It's just a control. It's just a control stick with the spin and then Mario.
Yeah, it's really simple, right? But
yeah,
it was the same. Like the background is meant to match the dark theme of YouTube.
Yeah,
and it was like the control stick with the spinny thing. That's good. And actually, it wasn't exactly what I wanted because instead of like, I used the most generic render of Sunshine Mario possible.
Yeah.
There's actually, I wanted to use the image from the instruction booklet of like the spinning Mario with like the wind, like the whooshing spinning effects around him and stuff.
Yeah.
The problem was there doesn't exist an image of the spinning Mario with a transparent background on the internet. I can only find one like, there was one pretty high res one, but it had like a solid white background. And I could not figure out a way to crop out that background behind the spinning effects because it's like semi-transparent, translucent. And I was like, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to just use, just so you know it's a Sunshine video because I don't mention Sunshine. Sunshine's not in the title. So I got to put it like somewhere to like be, hey, it's a Sunshine video. So
yeah,
I went with that.
Yeah, I watched the video before it was released.
Right, because I do a thing. It's been a tradition for my last few videos. I have the two checks, the two peer reviews. Noki Doki for the information, and then Sid is the swastika guy. Ever since there was an accidental illusion of a swastika from a spinning check mark, I don't want to make that same mistake again. I have Sid as like a different set of eyes. Make sure there's no hidden imagery anywhere. So
yeah, I'm just a proofread guy essentially, and Noki Doki is like, oh, you got this wrong. But what's funny about like, I feel like I would be the fact check guy like 4 years ago, where like, because I used to be in the Sunshine community, I used to be like the nerd. That would
you still are the nerd, but go on.
Yeah. Well, wait. Repeat that.
you still are the nerd, but go on.
No. Okay.
Sorry. You have jock senses now. I forgot.
Yeah, I have jock senses now. But I used to be like the nerd, and like Zelpiku leveled up, and then like ZMDKRR is like, or Orange or whoever. He goes insane, and Noki Doki came into the community, and there's just like all these guys that just know the code now, and I'm just sitting there going like,
essentially, you know those commercials where it's like, can he see why Cinnamon Toast Crunch is so good? No, Noki Doki's the guy where it's like, this guy knows everything about sunshine, but can you see why kids love the cinnamon taste of Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
I know why kids love the cinnamon
Wait, you
toast.
do? Wait, why do kids love it?
I don't know exactly that specific.
I can't understand. It's almost like the answer is the cereal tastes good or something. I can't figure it out. Something's in my tongue, but oh well.
Yeah, I have the feel for the game.
Yeah,
that's what I have. But
and then
yeah,
Noki Doki just knows a ton of random shit.
Yeah.
So
and well, like it totally makes sense that you would go to him because it's just like, oh, he knows. Like the only critique that I had of the video, and I'll say it now, is that like after I watched it, I was like, good vid, thumbs up. Everybody's liking it right now.
Yeah, I've been amazed by the response.
And my only response was, oh, for spin sliding or Beyblading or what
the grounded spin.
The grounded spin.
Yep.
For the grounded spin with a fruit, you can't do it with hover.
And I actually didn't know that making this video.
Yeah.
But fun fact.
But because you just said in the video, it's like, oh, if you grab a fruit and spin. And I was just like, oh, but you can only do it with hover. And you were just like, oh, I'll put like a text on it or something. And then
I
you were
was
just
like, well, I already rendered the video.
Yeah.
It's too much trouble now. But yeah.
And I was just like, yeah.
I'm technically not wrong. I just said a grounded spin can be done by holding something.
Very true.
I never specified which nozzle it had to be, but technically I'm not wrong. So, you know.
Because it's crazy that it only works with spray nozzle because
it's so
neither
weird,
work.
Like, you can do it normally with hover, but not holding something for some reason.
Well, like neither work when you're holding a fruit. Like it's not like when you hold R and you have the spray nozzle, it starts spraying. You can't spray when you're holding a fruit. So it's just like, so it's like, why would the spin slide only work when you have spray nozzle while you're holding a fruit?
It's like, why would it even work at all? There was a guy who commented saying, I've been modding this game for 4 years, and I didn't know you could do a grounded spin while holding something. It's pretty unique of a trick.
But yeah, so that was my only note. Didn't find any spinning check marks that then turned into a swastika.
I think that my eye for weird imagery like that has improved since that incident. So maybe I can even, get rid of Sid as my proofreader now.
No,
you do a good job. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Actually, also Noki Doki, another thing is he's the one who taught me about that trick I mentioned early on where it's like you can do a spin jump by only holding down. It's like down LLA does a spin jump. And you would think, oh, but don't you have to like spin the control stick at least like a little bit to do a spin jump? But no, it just depends on the camera positioning and Mario's positioning can sort of bypass that in a way.
There are definitely things that I learned from that video that I never knew.
Yeah, I think my goal with this video, it was mainly for like, people who don't run the game, they don't really know as much. They sort of maybe have seen a run or two and they don't really understand the nuance of like the multiple kinds of spin jumps. But also things can be learned from people like you who are like experts at the game.
Yeah.
Even though
I never knew the quadrants thing, like the quadrants spun with the spun with the camera.
Yeah.
Like I never knew that they were like the quadrants were like the cardinal directions, and you'd have to enter each quadrant of the map essentially.
And what's funny is when I started making the script for the video, actually I was done with the script. I like started editing essentially. And then the whole time I thought that the quadrants were like a static thing, as like always the X pattern. But then randomly in the redacted Discord, the guy Discord, JPEP was talking about it, just randomly talking about spin jump stuff, and slipped in the thing of like, yeah, the quadrants rotate. And I was like, wait, JPEP, is this like a real thing? He's like, yeah, Noki Doki told me. I was like, wait, why didn't Noki Doki tell me that? I think there was like just some miscommunication, but I got it figured out, and now it's all accurate, so that's good.
And the other thing that I was like, because the first spin jump you went into the video was like landing spins.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell is a landing spin?
It was pretty early on. It wasn't like the first one though.
Yeah, it was one of the first few.
It was in the basic spins section. So
yeah, and I was just like, what the hell is a landing spin? Because I thought at first, knowing as much as I did, I thought you were calling a buffered spin a landing spin, and I was
hell no,
because it is technically buffering a spin.
It is funny. A thing that is like the main thing I didn't really cover in the video that's kind of true is that buffered spins and landing spins are not black and white. It's sort of like, it's like a spectrum in a way, because there's different levels to which you can buffer a spin.
Yeah.
And you can also spin at different like early or late prior to a landing spin. So it's not just like, this is landing spin, this is buffer spin 100%. It's like sort of like mostly a buffered spin type of deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't really touch on that, but it's kind of, that's like sort of too in the weeds. So I didn't really bother with that explanation. So
you went pretty in the weeds.
Oh yeah, and the structure took me some time to figure out. Like I knew I wanted to cover, buffered, momentum, maybe frame perfect, stuff like that. I knew I would also I would have to introduce early on just like the basic types, but I knew it's like, what's the best way to like hook people with something that I'm sure like 99.9% of people didn't know. And the perfect thing came to me when I was talking with Noki Doki, which was the single direction spin jump I mentioned early on.
Yeah.
And I figured like, if I mention this like interesting thing that probably no one knows in the first 2 minutes, it'll trigger a thing in their brain to be like, what other mysteries lie in this video? And then they'll probably watch the whole thing, which I think that was a good idea. So, but yeah, I have like a few notes for things I want to cover as far as stuff to talk about in that video.
Sure.
So I originally got the idea for the video from somehow like the YouTube algorithm, just like there was a second wind on my pausing video. My pausing is weird video. It hit like 400K views or so about a year ago. And there was a period, I want to say earlier this year, when like randomly the algorithm picked it up again. It got like up to 700K views like in like a month time frame.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know what caused that, but maybe there's like something to this. So I was like, what other idea? Because the pausing is weird video originally came from a thing that was going to be in the mystical giant collaboration video you and I are going to make at some point.
Yeah, the video that you talk about at the end of the pausing video.
Yeah, like the thing that I teased.
Yeah.
And I was like, what other things would we talk about in that thing that I teased that could be a standalone video?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, if pausing can be a video, surely spin jumps can be a video, because spin jumps, there's so much more to that than just like the pausing thing.
Yeah. And spin jumps are basically sunshine only. Like they are, like you were mentioning, in other games. And somebody in the comments just like you mentioned how bad other spin jumps are in other games.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to have that angle too, where it's like simmy shit talking other Mario games.
Yeah, but there was one comment that I noticed. It is funny how I go through your comments now as if they're mine, because
it's fun to go through comments.
Yeah, it's just like we've been doing the podcast for so long, and we've been friends for so long that I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna go through his comments and like respond to some.
And whatever negative things it goes towards me too.
Yeah, and that's it's funny that I have that like thought. Anyway, but one of the comments was like, "Oh, Odyssey's spin pound is good." Yeah, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, you're right. It is good."
I thought of that as I was making it, but I was like, "It's not a spin jump though. It's like it's a spin. Yeah. That's a different thing."
The spin jump part sucks.
Yeah, the only good spin jump from a 3D Mario game is Sunshine's.
Hey, to be fair, Odyssey does kind of have a spin slide though. Because you can spin the control stick and you start the spin slide.
Or you mean like a grounded spin type?
A grounded spin.
Yeah. Also, I realized when I recorded footage of the 3D World thing, like, oh, the double spin, so shitty.
Yeah.
I realized that also that game has the spin slide thing.
Oh, yeah?
Which is, I mean, it's kind of cool, but I was like, I'm going to just like glance over that and say like, oh, look at how shitty this is.
Yeah.
Because like, it's kind of funny. So.
What was my point? Did I cut you off?
I don't know, but I'll get to I'll continue what I was saying.
Yeah, go for it.
And again, I also, most of the time when I get a negative comment, it's just like some, maybe like either ignorant or like sort of shitposty. Yeah. But there was one really valid form of criticism my pausing video got, which was like, the intro sounds like something you would hear like in a high school essay. It's sort of like boring thing. Well, and I listened back to it and it's like, I kind of agree, because what was the intro? Just like, pausing is a thing you can do in games. It was so lame. I was like, Damn, that intro is kind of lame.
Well, I do remember you talking about this comment, and you're just like, yeah, it's good criticism, but like,
Oh yeah, then he ended his comment like with an insult.
Yeah, the end of it, just like, oh, this is good criticism, and then he's just like, yeah, but you also suck, and it's just like,
it's like, it was a good comment, so it's like you didn't hurt my feelings though. Come on,
yeah,
man.
you don't, yeah.
But yeah, I took that piece of advice from this mean guy and was like, I want to make a more interesting intro. What if I compare the spin jump to other games, like whatever spinning mechanic they have?
Yeah.
And I'm sort of like, oh yeah, that one's no good, or no, that one ain't fun. But Sunshine's though, that one's cool.
Yeah.
And that was sort of, I had that idea like immediately, and it actually worked out. And then also the ending of the video, because I said spin almost as much as I said the word the. Like I said spin so much in this video. I had like, usually I've talked about it before. I'll do a thing called invisible comments baiting, where I'll make like some kind of reference or some like subtle mistake, like saying persuado.
Yeah, an oral typo.
Yeah, where the whole idea is sort of to be funny, but also like to bait more comments to like boost engagement a little bit.
What did it come from? Advanced Shit Movement?
Advanced Shit Movement, the OG one of that.
Yeah.
And then I had the idea, like for the first time ever, I did a visible comment bait where at the very end of this video I said, try to guess how many times I said the word spin in this video.
Yeah.
And actually what's funny is I had no idea how many times I actually said it. I was like, I just want to see what guesses come up.
Yeah.
I saw anywhere in the range of 2 as a joke to like 400 or something.
Yeah.
And actually Noki Doki,
I love Noki Doki's video.
the absolute mad lad, posted a hilarious compilation on his Twitter. And it was a compilation of every single time I said spin in the video. It was like spin jump, momentum spin, frame perfect spin, spin jump crisis.
Dude, I love spin jump crisis so much.
And it's just back to back to back every single time. And including past tense like spun and stuff, apparently it was 141.
Yeah.
So I've seen it's anywhere from like, depending on like how lenient you are, it's like 137 to 141, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
But quite a number of times for a 20-minute video, that's for sure.
I'm glad that you took out spin jumping from what we have in store if that eventually happens. Like from our like theoretical video.
Yeah, because this was going to be a topic in that big ass video that's coming out 2028.
Yeah.
But I was like, spinning, like again, pausing on its own video, spinning is way bigger than pausing. That could be its own video. So.
And you know what? We probably in the most vague terms, we're probably going to have to re-mention some of the spin jump things in that video.
Actually, yeah, there are a few things, because one more thing I also missed is you can do a triple jump with only one A press. If you fall off a ledge, bounce on an enemy, I think I didn't mention is that you can do a mid-air spin off of bouncing off of something.
Mm-hmm.
But what you can do is fall off a ledge onto an enemy, mid-air spin, then triple jump from that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be like one of like the various things in that big video, probably. So
yeah, there's a bunch of stuff like that. For anybody that doesn't know, we speedrun Super Mario Sunshine.
Oh yeah, we do that, by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
That's where all this is really coming from. But yeah, I thought it was a really good video. I got a DM from KO. I wonder how you feel about this. It's related to your video.
Mm-hmm.
So he DM'd me like hold on. He DM'd me like 4 days after it was released.
Which would be like yesterday?
Maybe.
It's not even a week old right now.
It's like a guess, like maybe a couple days after it was released.
Uh-huh.
And he was just like, how's Trey doing? The video's not doing that great.
Whoa, what is he talking about?
I was just like looking at this comment. I'm like, huh. At the time it had 22K views.
Actually, I'll go ahead and finish your thing. But yeah, this is actually kind of funny. But
he DM'd me and was just like, oh, like, it's a shame. It's a great video. It's a shame it's not doing very well. And I was just kind of looking at it and I was just like, what is this? like I don't. And I was talking about it in the call I was in, and they responded with like, well, what kind of like what parameters are you comparing against? So it's just like he's comparing against the any percent world record history video that has 3.5 million
which has been on
views.
YouTube for over 4 years.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I'm not to call out KO, but also to call out KO. It's a very weird thing. Also to DM me. Why am I getting all the DMs?
But yeah, I get like no DMs. Sid,
That's so funny.
Sid gets so. I have like no friends. I guess Sid has all the friends. Fucking, I don't know what's going on.
I got
no one ever DMs me.
I got DM'd by Lou Marty, and I actually had like a nice conversation about like going for 96 world record, and he's gonna try to get really good at ILs and stuff, or like on the IL board.
He's already good at ILs. What is he talking about?
Well, I was watching his stream last night. He was actually doing some like insane spin jump momentum spins in like pin of 6, and in the secret. And I had this nice conversation, but like before that, when I first saw the DM when I woke up or when I was still up, I DM'd Trey in all caps. I'm like, bro, did you get a Lou DM? And he's just like, bro, I want a Lou DM.
Dude, I want a Lou DM. Goddamn.
And I was just like, yeah, I'm just getting all the DMs. I don't know why.
Wow, that is hilarious that he would actually think that, because you know what's funny?
What's funny?
About the performance of the spin jump video? So there's a thing on YouTube, a little inside info, if you will, on like your YouTube Studio Analytics page. It's this thing that was out a few months ago. It's called ranking by views. And essentially, there's a system that a lot of like full-time YouTubers will take into account, and it ranks the last 10 uploads you have in terms of how well they're performing in their first few days of being up.
Yes.
And you like the ideal place to be in is 1 of 10, meaning it's the best performing video of your last 10 videos.
Yeah.
Whereas a video that's like 9 of 10 is like the 9th worst, or the 9th best. Yeah. It's the second worst performing video.
You don't want it to be 10 out of 10.
Yeah, you want it to be as close to 1 as possible. And actually what's crazy is this spin jump video is my best performing video of all time to this point. Because people don't realize, I guess KO doesn't realize the trajectory of my view counts on my YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a single video that's ever blown up initially. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
They're always, I call it a slow burn. So the first like week or so my video is up, it'll get like a few thousand views, maybe like 20,000 or 30,000 if it's good. And then the algorithm picks it up, throws it out there into recommendations, and then like the further thousands start rolling in at that point. Mm-hmm. And it takes like a good couple of months for it to get up to like to the 100K, 200K figures that you usually see in my channel on my bigger videos. And this video, it hasn't even been a week yet. It already has almost 60K views, which is like insane.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on the ranking my views. It's number 1 compared to my second performing video in my last 10 uploads, the pausing video. It's beating that up to this point by like 10K views. So it's actually doing really well.
Yeah. And the pausing video is definitely something good to compare against.
Yeah. Cause that one, I still think it has like my best title and thumbnail of any video ever.
Yeah.
But it's doing really well.
I would like to like have, because I don't think I've been in a call with him and talked about that comment, but I remember reading it and being like, what? Like, what?
Does he just think you upload a video and then boom, 500K views, then just like 0?
Bro, it doesn't have 1 million yet.
It's not that extreme. It's not like everyone sees it all at once and then it's just dead. It's like, especially on my channel, because I don't have that many subscribers. I don't have like 1 million subscribers.
Yeah.
So like not that many people are going to like see it initially, but then when YouTube recognizes, oh, the watch time is pretty good for this, and like there's also a decent amount of likes and engagement, maybe like we'll try recommending this to other people, and then that's when it starts like picking up steam a little bit. So it's funny. My channel's kind of weird like that, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the 10 out of 10 thing, because I just learned of that this morning. And because I was listening to The Yard, I've been randomly listening to the Ludwig podcast, because it's just kind of in my recommendeds, and I'm just like, you know what? I'll put it in my ear while I'm working or whatever.
They've got a much cooler setup than we do, being like in a yard.
Yeah, being like in their attic in a yard.
We got no setup. We're just on the internet.
Yeah, and literally they were talking about the 10 out of 10 thing. Not this morning, but like on one of their podcasts that I listened to, probably if I had to do the math, not 7 hours ago, 10 hours ago, like literally this morning as I was like doing work. And so it's just like, when you're just like, oh, there's this YouTube thing. I'm like, he's going to talk about the thing that I literally just learned about. It's like out of 10. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently ranking my views is super stressful if you do YouTube full time, because you'll upload a video, you'll see the 10 out of 10, you're like, oh fuck, I need to improve my title or my thumbnail or something and like get it up there a little bit, because like, that's the thing is that, like it or hate it, the title and the thumbnail are the most important parts of a video, as far as like getting it out there. Yeah,
and that's why we brainstorm it all.
Yeah, exactly. And like I think about a title for like months and months, like making a video. And I mean, that's important, but also like if the video itself is good, it'll have a good watch time, which further improves it. And then, yeah,
even for these podcasts, we have like it's not like we just kind of throw out an idea and then just kind of put it out.
Oh yeah, we think about it.
Yeah, we definitely sit and stew and like shout. Especially last week, we were doing it for like up until the podcast was released.
Yeah.
I think it was ultimately, it was my idea, right? The title for last week.
What was the title again?
It was
anonymized and removed. Yeah.
Anonymized and removed.
Yeah, that was your idea. It was good.
And but like we go back and forth with a bunch of them. Like it's not like I'll sit there and be like, oh, I love my idea because it's mine. I just want to talk about the art of brainstorming.
we're super like, we don't care whose idea it is. We're just like, that one's better.
Yeah.
And we're very good about that.
Unless it's a nut joke and we just want to make a nut joke.
Like, man, it's time to bring out the cross chop Waluigi again. Why?
I love that. I just love that became a thing.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, let's just bring back the nut chop. And then we're just sitting there in a post podcast call just laughing.
I was thinking of like other serious title ideas, and you're like, I kind of want to use the nut joke.
I
like,
just kind of want...
Well, I got nothing better. We'll do the nut joke again.
Wendy's rants hit your face.
Wendy's rants hit your face. It's like, so all right, I'm using that, I guess. Whatever.
but and some weeks we think of like a serious one, or like the Celeste one. We couldn't think of anything good. And then KO was like using. We brought KO in for like suggestions on plays on Celeste, and he kind of floundered really quickly. Like he had like Celeste. What was the first one?
Celeste,
like,
you know the better.
Yeah, Celeste, you know the better. And we were just
like, oh, that's pretty good. It's a cool pun.
Yeah, it's cute. And then we just went like whole hog into it, and just kind of went, what was it?
Distressed or impressed by Celeste, we confessed, no guest.
And then
it's like it literally meets the maximum character limit. The title. It's like, fuck it, we're doing it. Why not?
So it's just like, that was the one where we actually worked on it, but we knew it was going to be like potentially
this is
to
like
its detriment.
Intentionally stupid, yeah.
Yeah, and so I actually work on the descriptions. I take I don't know 15 to 20 minutes every week, just kind of like writing the description like up to my standards. Not that not a lot of people read it or anything, but
I would recommend, for those of you who don't usually read descriptions, I'd recommend reading the descriptions, because they're well thought out.
Yeah.
So.
And thank you. And like it's not like a huge deal. It's just something that I actually put effort into, like a little bit. And for that Celeste one, I actually made the first. Well, the first line was our original idea for the title. What was the?
It was so funny. What was it?
What was the title?
It was like Undressing Celeste.
Oh yeah.
Wait. So the full title was Undressing Celeste, like the mountain, so it's fine.
Like the mountain, so it's fine.
It sounds like wait. That sounds kind of sus. Oh, yeah. Celeste is the mountain, not the girl. Okay, we're good.
That was the OG podcast name, so I put it in the description, being like, when the original title idea was this.
When that was the idea originally, I was actually like crying with laughter. I was like, that is so fucking funny. Like then, the mountain, so it's we're cool.
Yeah, so we're okay. We're fine. And then the description actually took some of the rhyming scheme.
Yeah.
At the start of it, at the very least.
Very poetic.
But yeah, I put some effort in the description, so if you want to take a moment and read the description, maybe for this week, I don't know yet, but I put a little bit of effort in those. But yeah, we brainstorm really well. I just want to talk about that. The fact that we just kind of like
not just for the podcast, but whenever I make an actual video on my channel too.
Yeah. Well, like it was the Mario Kart one that I thought were shooting
the title for my Double Dash video a few months ago, that literally just came from you.
Yeah.
So.
And we talk about the thumbnails. Like we were brainstorming for the lowest percent one that you did.
Oh yeah, the max percent pre-peach.
And I remember we were talking about the thumbnail. And we were talking about like what to show in the thumbnail. I'm like, just show a shot of Peach getting kidnapped, and then you adapted it and put like the shine count and everything. But
yeah,
like,
then ultimately the actual lowest percent people made the thumbnail.
Yeah,
and actually, what's crazy is because it's ran by like Small Ants and Linkus and like really popular streamers and YouTube content creators, and they know how to make a good thumbnail and title. And they've further improved that title since whatever the idea was originally. I think right now it's like getting 25 shines before the game even starts or something. Mm-hmm. And that's brought in more views, I think. It's over 1 million views now. So,
oh, crazy.
I guess it worked. But yeah.
But yeah, we shoot this shit for every, like, even for these pods, we just kind of work on these titles and do whatever. Like, it doesn't have to be immediately after. Like, the next day, Trey will be like, he'll just throw out an idea, and I'll just be like, and then I'll just sit, if I'm free, I'll just sit for like 15 minutes just kind of looking at my phone, being like, what is a good title? Like, some titles just come at like right away. Some titles for the podcast just come right away, but some actually have to be like figured out. Mm-hmm. You Unite These Nuts. What was it?
I think that was it. Yeah, Unite These Nuts.
We just immediately
for Pokemon Unite.
Yeah, and for Pokemon Unite. What a dumb
what else would it be, right?
It's so dumb. And we just kind of went with that. I don't know. Yeah, we brainstorm it all.
But then, so SpongeBob video is performing exceptionally well despite what KO thinks.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand YouTube, I guess. That's fine. Mm-hmm. I want a few more notes I had on the video to touch on. Yeah, I need to get this out there. I want to brag. Okay, I got to brag about this.
Sure, let's do it. 1 out of 10.
The genius of the oven joke in that video. All right, I want to talk about this. It is the most, because when I make a video, I can really calculate my comedy like down to the frame of like what's the best possible delivery on this line and like what meme should I use and whatnot. And the oven reference I thought was like so perfectly done, because so it started with, I knew that it was in a section of the video, like a critical section is like, this is make or break. Does the audience get bored or do they keep pushing on? Because I just explained some like frame data stuff like, oh, the 10 frame window, blah, blah, blah. And this is going directly into the basic spin types. Like, oh, so exciting. Wow, mid-air spin. Fucking who cares? I knew that in this transition period to the basic spin sections, I got to make like a banger joke. Like I got to like 10 out of 10 joke. What's it going to be? So I just mentioned like the degrees of turning like 180 degrees to 70 degrees. Maybe there's something there. I don't know. And I was like, okay, what timeless joke or meme has something to do with like either angles or like temperature degrees? Oh, 270. That's sort of like an oven temperature, right? The oven meme. Boom. But then wait. 270 degrees Fahrenheit, that's kind of cold for like oven food, right? Mm-hmm. Like normally like you're in 300s, 400s. Mm-hmm. What if I did Celsius? 270 degrees Celsius, that's about 550 degrees Fahrenheit. That's pizza temperature for like professional pizza ovens will be that temperature.
Yeah, that's a really hot pizza.
It's got to be a joke with cold pizza. But then, okay, another consideration. Do I use the more widely known joke reference of the fake Garfield panel or the true origin of the meme dating back to 2013 with Yoshichi's original tweet? Big decision here. And I was like, why not both?
You're deeper than me right now. I don't know. Yeah.
So I settled on both. I had John from the fake Garfield panel putting pizza into the oven with 270 degrees Celsius, but then I had like the fire in the oven, and then Yoshichi's profile picture, Chunky Kong, in the oven. It was just, it was poetry, honestly. It was beautifully set up, beautifully executed. And hopefully for those who got the reference, they stuck through because they're like, oh man, this guy's got jokes. I'm going to keep watching. If you don't get the reference, you're like, that was kind of silly, but this guy, he's quirky, so whatever.
Yeah. Totally lost on me.
Yeah, I was so proud of that joke. And then the callback later on, when I go into frame, I had like the frame perfect pickup line. It's like, hey babe, can I take a picture of you hanging on my wall? Because I think you're frame perfect. I didn't come up with that. That's not my joke. Where that came from, actually, I heard that from a really, really old speedrun live stream. Do you remember gotdamn Golden?
Yes.
There's a really old speedrunner. He's still around. I used to watch him speedrun Mario World. His name was Golden, but the L was a 1.
One of the GDQ hosts.
Yeah, exactly. He's really known for like his commentary. He did commentary for like a Super Metroid race forever ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember on one of his like 2013 really old streams, he made that exact frame perfect pickup line joke. And I was like, I thought of that for some reason, like one of the random things I just remember for no reason. Mm-hmm. And was like, yeah, I guess I'll use that. Screw it. And then like, what characters do I use though? Oh, obviously I bring back John and Chunky Kong. There we go. So yeah, it's just funny little things that go through my head, like how to set up references and jokes in my videos. It's when it comes to you, it's just like, oh, such a good feeling.
Yeah. It is funny to like jump into your brain for a moment because all of like we've talked about the fact that I haven't been on the internet like from the time before like 2014. Mm-hmm. So like all of these reference from like the Goobas.
Oh, the Goobas. Yeah, I didn't learn about Goobas till like Rat got me into like watching Sam Hyde and stuff.
Yeah. So. But like it's funny how you can put like you can make this sunshine spin jump video or this pausing video or whatever and just through what you're saying, just kind of like, just randomly insert this internet memedom, just like so, I don't know, cleanly. Like,
see, humor is a powerful tool, but it's also a dangerous one because you don't want to be like cheesy or something.
Yeah,
you gotta like really calculate, like, is this funny enough to be warranted, and is it too distracting, stuff like that.
But also, like, you're also kind of just making references, like at some, like it's a joke. But it's also just like a reference that I am like the Goobas one you had to explain to me.
Yeah, this the Gooba one?
Yeah, the Gooba just like, what the fuck is this? Why are you saying Goobas?
And
like,
you know that joke came from, I didn't know if I wanted to call the enemies that come from goop that jump at you. There's 2 agreed on names of either Gooble or Swooping Stew.
Yeah.
We don't know which one's right still. Different sources say different things. Mm-hmm. And rather than choosing one and being wrong to some people, I'm just going to make up Goobas because it sounds like the funny, there's like a Sam Hyde clip of him like in a gas station. He's like, yo, I love the Goobas, man. I might get 2 Goobas. I might get 3 Goobas.
But the thing about the like Goobas thing is that I'm sitting there going like, I don't get the reference, but I'm sitting there going like, this is kind of like he's saying it in a funny way.
You're like, no, I know it's supposed to be funny here, so I'm going to laugh.
Yeah, it is kind of one of those moments. But like if you know like the reference that you're making for any of these jokes, because I didn't know any of the like oven reference, but I knew the oven joke. Mm-hmm. Because like I knew that it came from like a fake Garfield slide, but like anything past that, like the original tweet, the Funky Kong in the oven, no idea. Absolutely
no idea. In a way,
idea.
It was kind of symbolic, right? Because Chunky Kong, Yoshichi's profile picture was in the fire. It symbolizes how, even though he's the one who made the meme, he's the brainchild of the meme, people only know it for the Garfield thing. So it's like he's burning up as like, oh man, no one recognizes me. Oh. It's very deep. It's very deep.
Yeah.
But then, also, like the hilarious, the butt slide ending.
The butt slide ending.
Where it's like I had the Jimmy Kimmel theme music as I'm butt sliding across like all the different terrain.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the ending I thought of like that one night as like, dude, I thought the most hilarious ending ever.
Yeah, you DM'd me like, because it was amongst all of the stuff that happened last week. And,
amongst all the Sunshine drama from like the last episode. And you were just
like, man, I'm so bummed. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like, I understand. And then you were just like, dude, my mood is so much better now. I thought of the ending of this video. It's so hilarious.
Yeah, because I obviously like the script was done for months. I knew I wanted to have like the 20XX, it'll be butt slides only joke. But it's like, how do I visualize that and make it funny? What am I going to do?
Just butt sliding everywhere.
What I did was I took a screenshot of Mario in the sliding animation, like on emulator on like the slide stage.
Mhm.
I cropped out the background so it was just Mario. I used, and again, shout out to Jasper RLZ for his NoClip website. It's a very, very good resource. You can use like a camera with really good controls to like go through various GameCube game environments and stuff.
Mhm.
And I went through like the Sunshine environments. I just like zoomed the camera forward, and then I put the picture of the sliding Mario in there, and it lined up beautifully. And I had him zoom off into the sky, and then that's the end of the video. I thought it was very good. So
Yeah.
very, very goofy, but good.
Yeah. Good vid.
Thank you. And yeah. the reception's been really good. Like it never gets easier, Sid. It never gets easier. Every video I make, no matter what, no matter how objectively good the video might be,
Sure.
I'm always afraid, like, this is going to be the one where it's like, all right, Trey's kind of lost his touch. He's kind of whatever. He's just like explaining this like boring spin jump stuff. Fucking who cares? But no, people seem to be taking it really well, and they think it's good. They think it's funny. And I'm like, I did it again. Yes.
It is funny that every video you release, there is that one comment that is just like, dude, you're so much better at editing now. Like every video, I feel. Like
I definitely see that too, and that really warms my heart because I put a lot of time into my editing, probably too much. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely good to hear things like that. Also, I utilized my DIY tripod. I don't know if you noticed for the scenes where like I have my hands on the controller.
I was just like, whose hands are these? They must be his.
Those are my own two hands I had on the controller for like this little my own video, my phone footage for the video.
Mm.
I don't know. For those who didn't see on Twitter, I posted a picture of my DIY tripod because I don't actually own like a physical tripod for cell phones.
Who does?
it was an assortment of a couple boxes, like a box of plastic bags, and then a napkin holder on top of that. And then I shoved boxer briefs into the napkin holder, and so I could angle the phone to face over the top of the napkin holder, and it was like the perfect height. So I was like, okay, I'm using that. Screw it. DIY tripod.
I remember responding to that tweet. I don't remember what I said.
Oh yeah, you spent longer on this tweet than the actual tripod.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And I was like, you know what's funny is that's actually 100% true.
Because it was like some sort of like semi well-crafted tweet.
Oh yeah, it was like like difficulty, semi-pro, time to complete 2 minutes. It was like this really over the top description.
Yeah.
And the actual image is like some fucking shitty like napkin holder thing.
And I'm just sitting there going like, bro, you took more time on this tweet. Because I know that whenever I tweet things, I just like I reword it like 7 times.
I think about it for a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just looking at this. I'm just like, you took too long on this, or too long on the tweet.
I mean, yeah, you read me like a book right there.
Yeah.
I made that tripod. I was like, this looks so stupid. I'm going to tweet this. And then I went kind of over the top of the description, but yeah. I got some more notes on here. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So like 80% of my viewership, I actually just saw this today. There's like the different age ranges of like percentages that see my video.
Uh-huh.
And I believe 80% of my viewership is in the 18 to 34 year age range, unsurprisingly.
Uh-huh. That's me. Hey.
But, you know, yeah, you're in that 80%.
Uh-huh.
But despite that, I mean, like my parents always see my videos. I always tell them like, hey, I got a new video. And they love watching them. Even though they're in the 0.9%, the boomers.
Ooh.
0.9% of my views come from like around that age range. And I'm sure that every joke goes right over their heads, but they still like watching them. So
oven, the cold food, oven.
There's no way a single boomer knows the oven meme.
Yeah, I can't imagine my mom knowing anything about the boomer meme.
But you know, that being said, to all my boomer viewers, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
And keep on watching, even though a lot of my references might be kind of quirky.
Yeah.
Yeah, that always goes through my head when I know that my parents have seen my videos. I'm just like, what the heck were they thinking when they saw this one scene? Like, what they're probably thinking, like, this guy is so dumb.
Yeah.
Like, what does this possibly mean? But yeah.
Uh-huh. That's exactly what I feel when, like, this podcast or my Twitch stream, recently my family, like, figured out they exist.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that my extended family, like one of my cousin's families, has like a text group that, like, in the summer they were visiting, and I was talking to my cousin, and she was just like, "Oh yeah, I was in your chat the other day, and I asked this question, and you like." And I remember it was a stupid question. I don't remember what it was, but it was like one of those. It was like, "How long have you been playing the game?" You know?
Yeah, it was such a stupid question.
And I was playing Sunshine. Well, it was just one of those questions.
How dare you ask that?
No, I didn't think it was stupid, but I like.
Yeah. It's just sort of like a nothing, like you see all the time question. Yeah.
And she was just like, "Oh, you seemed like perturbed by it." She didn't say perturbed, but
perturbed.
I say perturbed a lot.
I just imagine like everyone in your family does the thing you do, where like you randomly have like one super eloquent word thrown in. It's like everyone doing that.
You're just like, "Bro, I'm chilling." And then you just say perturbed. But
that's definitely like the Sid thing to do.
But I remember we were sitting on my parents' deck and we were just talking just about stuff. And she mentioned the fact that she was in my Twitch stream and that they have like a text group, and they linked the podcast that we do and my Twitch stream. And I was just like, huh, like you guys you like figured it out, or like talked to my mom about it, 'cause I know my mom knows. And I don't know if she listens, but like it's interesting to know my extended family knows now. And like when you're talking about like, oh, there's no way that they get any of the references or whatever. Like, I wonder what they think about like the podcast, because I know my brother is gonna try to listen now because I talked to him about it on Thanksgiving, because he was just. Because I assumed everybody knew at this point, because it's been like multiple months.
None of my family knows. I never tell them about it, to be honest.
And I was talking to my brother, and I was just like, he caught me texting you because during Thanksgiving it was Canadian Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, Canadian Thanksgiving already happened. That's right.
Yeah, happy Canadian Thanksgiving, everybody. But it was the Monday night before. Like you had you wanted to go to bed early because your sleep schedule has been like, I don't know, kind of accelerated.
Super early now.
Yeah. So I just like found a dark corner at my parents' house during Thanksgiving dinner, and was texting you, and he found me and was just like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm just texting Trey about the podcast," and just hoping that they would be like, "Oh yeah, okay," and just go away or whatever. Not go away.
Get the fuck away from me.
Just go away. But then it's just like, wait, podcast? And I'm like, oh, you don't know. And I told them,
when you mentioned, you could just say, oh, I'm texting someone online.
Well, yeah, but like I just assumed everybody knew that it existed at this point. And
that's a bold assumption to make.
Well, I just assumed, like, I think he was the only person there that didn't know I had a podcast.
Okay.
Or I participated in this podcast. And so then I like told him about it. It's just like, oh, it's about video games are hard, blah, blah, blah. And then when I went onto the deck to talk with him again, he turned to me and was just like, can we talk about it? Like, and I was sitting there going like, yeah, we can talk. Like,
can we make our own podcast?
No. Can we talk like on a podcast about this? But he thought that I was like super shy about it. And I was just like, no, I just thought everybody knew. So I just like talked about the fact that whatever, we did the podcast in 8 years and blah, blah, blah. You're from Kansas and stuff like that. So I don't know where that story came from, but yeah, extended family knowing about your video. What were we
talking about again?
Yeah. You're just like your family watching your YouTube video.
Oh yeah. My family. Yeah. The boomer
and
viewers,
it's just like, oh, like, what do they think about like what we talk about?
I definitely internally cringe thinking about what my parents' reaction to my videos would be. Yeah. It's just like this stuff is going right over their heads, but you know, they're my parents. They support me, so that's cool. I mean, they figured out like my 80% history video existed because of money. They're like, "Where's this money coming from? This Google AdSense?" And like at that point, like when money's involved, you gotta like explain it, you know, a fair bit. So
yeah, it's just like, oh, where's this? Are you?
I can't just be like, yo, I don't know. Google just loves me.
I'm perturbed by this money.
Yeah, they were very perturbed by the money. Yeah. They're like, whoa, is this like some drugs? Like, what's going on here? No. I'm trying to see if there's any things I didn't touch on in my list of stuff oh, yeah. I also like just throwing in like little random references, like my little title sequence transitions in that video. I referenced the NES game Action 52. And I even had like an Advance Wars 2 style transition, like the basic spin jump types screen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love editing. I just love throwing in stuff like that. Then also seeing like a comment or two below, like, oh, nice Advance Wars reference, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just cool to do. It's so crazy how I feel like so many YouTubers who do it full time and like make a living off of it and depend on the consistency to like maintain a following and stuff, like keeping it familiar. They tend to get a little bit too cookie cutter in like the way they format their videos, and like they don't really want to. What I always say is like, don't be afraid to get silly with it, because it's crazy when you're making a video. I could literally just like say dick butt for like a minute straight. Like it's my own video. I can do whatever I want. Like this is my video. It doesn't have to be like a super strict like, and this is the momentum spin. This is the buffered spin. I could just like I could take a shit on video. Like, no. I could do anything. And I think not being afraid to get silly with it and like throw in a random reference, throw in an oven meme. I just think it's cool to do that every now and then, see if it's funny. And I don't know. Like don't go too crazy with it, but like don't be afraid to just experiment a little bit with jokes and whatnot. That's my tip to all you aspiring YouTubers out there.
I think that works with Twitch streaming too, where it's just like, if you're comfortable, if you seem comfortable on camera or in your YouTube video or whatever, people are going to be more comfortable watching. Yeah,
and I definitely, I'm not like really like the streamer type. I sort of just stream to do speedrun stuff for the most part. Mm-hmm. But in my videos, I feel like I have a confidence in like, I sort of know what editing stuff will work and what doesn't here.
Yeah.
Because I've made so many videos and I've seen so many YouTube videos throughout like the many, many years I've watched YouTube religiously. Mm-hmm. I sort of know what works. So it's like, I can put in this joke and like, this is chill. So
yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. But they also like the vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, he's willing to make this shitty oven joke or this immaculately crafted oven joke. Sorry.
Dude, actually crafting that was a process. It's the stuff that goes, the way that I brainstorm the jokes in my videos, it's a process. Mm-hmm. So, anything else I missed? There was ultimately blah. I think that just about covers it.
Okay.
So yeah, videos out there, it's doing well. Either it'll pull a Pianta 6 video and hit like 160K views in a few weeks, then just like flatline. Or it'll pull a pausing video and get like a second wind and go like crazy with views. Who knows? In the YouTube algorithm, no one knows what's going on there. So yeah, see what happens.
The spinning Mario at the start of it.
Yes.
The 3D block Mario.
Oh yeah, that's just like a GIF on Google Images I found.
Okay.
I didn't make that.
Okay, I thought you made it.
No.
Because I was just, because it never shows up again, and I was just like, did he just like work really hard on this beginning of this video and then just kind of like
it kind of comes off that way.
Yeah.
But I literally just like stole that from Google Images.
Okay.
And I did not credit the maker of the 3D 8-bit Mario spinning animation. I apologize. Mm-hmm. I did not make that, but to you, whoever out there on the internet made that, it looks pretty sick. So
yeah,
good shit.
to talk about our like secret idea video for a second.
Oh yeah, coming out in like 8 years. I don't know.
We do still add things to the list of it, even though we're not divulging what the list is. Like spin jumping would be a part of it, so you can kind of try to figure it out.
Yeah, we're gonna remove some of the spin jump stuff we had on there originally.
Yeah,
but I'll keep like the more minor stuff I didn't even mention in this video. So
like, there are periodically things that like I watch somebody do or I do myself, and I'm just like, oh, Trey, add this to the list. Because I don't know if I have access to this. Do I have access to this list?
I think you do. I sent it to you at some point, like probably like a year ago.
I'd have to find it, but I just go like, oh, Trey, add this to the list, and you're just like, what does that even mean? I'm like, trust me, just add it. And I know
Sid will say stuff I never even heard of, and I'm like, okay, or whatever.
Yeah, and you're just like, wait, what? And I'm just like, yeah, because I think 2 days in a row I DM'd you being like, add something to the list.
Yeah,
and then but yeah, so that's still a secret. And the release of the spin jump video, there was still like a swell. I I get DMs.
Sid gets all the DMs. Sid is like, if we're like a company, what's that called? Like a 2-person company, a dual company?
I don't know.
There's a word for that.
If we're a duo.
If we're a duo company, you're like the inbox of all the DMs, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
I'm not complaining. I suck at getting around to DMs sometimes. Maybe that's why I don't get them.
I'm very good at getting around to DMs. Our guest that we're going to have next week, I don't want to leak yet, but he's bad at DMs because he got our DM, like he got the DM before we decided to do a guestless episode this week. So we initially invited him to do this episode that we're recording right now. And he told me on his stream that he was just like, oh yeah, I saw the DM and I didn't know how to respond, or I didn't feel like responding because I was tired, and it just kind of then got buried. And I'm just like, why didn't you just say yes or no? like I don't understand. But yeah, he's been DMing me and I've been DMing him back. I'm very good about responding to DMs.
That's good.
Which is a quality that not everybody has. And yeah, but I've heard that some people's interpretation of it, like I've told people, is just like, I'm getting DMs and you're not getting DMs, and they're just like, well, it's Trey. He's like famous, and I'm just like,
dude, I think it's so funny people say that I'm famous. I am not in the least bit famous. There are how many thousands of YouTube channels with over 1 million subs? I have like 50K. Like I'm like nobody.
It is funny because we've known each other for so long, and we've because I met you in 2014. Right. And we started racing and stuff, and we started being in Discord calls or Skype calls.
Daily races.
Yeah. And we became like part of the friend group and everything. And then the release of the world record history video was 2017, right?
It was September 2017.
Because we announced it was the 4-year anniversary last podcast.
Well, actually it was like a month ago, but I forgot to mention it for a few weeks. Okay. So
last month. And I've known you since before that video, and now everybody's just like, bro, it's average Trey. I've seen all of his videos, and I'm sitting there going like, same. But
it's funny to hear that, because like I don't think of myself as like famous in the least bit, because like there are countless channels out there that can just post a video, get 100K views in a day, and it takes me like weeks to get there usually. So.
But it's funny that, like, for the podcast that we both do, I get the compliment. It's just like, oh, you guys did well. And I'm just, like, sitting there going, like, did Trey get a DM saying that? It's like, no.
I didn't get it, but as long as you're the inbox of our co-company, that's cool. That's chill.
I just go, like, hey, Trey, these people liked the podcast. And
what if I have, like, some setting turned on I don't even realize, where it's, like, filter out all DMs, except for, like, from my mom or something?
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, that's the running theory. I know a bunch of people have been saying like, oh, I watched the spin jump video and then I really wanted to play Sunshine.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Many people saying they didn't realize that was the intent, was to help people realize the true depth of this one mechanic that you can easily look at and just pass off as, oh, it's like a one trick thing. You just spin the control stick and then it always works for whatever situation. But there's all sorts of like variance in like the timing of the A presses versus the spin versus diving, depending on the situation, that really adds a lot of depth. So,
yeah, and that's just one aspect. That's just spin jumping.
And that's just one mechanic. There is all sorts of other stuff on top of that. So
yeah. You likened it to SM64 in the video, and you're just like, yeah, but it doesn't have long jumping.
What's that? 64 has long jumping. Mario Galaxy has a little crab walk. Yo, Mario Odyssey has rolling and fast rolling on top of that.
I laughed so hard when you said fast rolling on top of it. I was just like,
yeah, and it's like, to do that, you gotta shake your Joy-Cons. I just like to poke random fun, Yeah.
But I remember seeing a comment being like, oh, okay, I guess SMS has deeper mechanics than the SM64, and I'm like, yeah, it does. yes, it does.
That's not to say it's necessarily like a better game.
No,
but like mechanics wise, it's pretty deep.
Yeah. Well, Flood just, like, not to be the broken record, but Flood just adds so much shit to it.
Yeah, Flood adds like 5x things to do.
Yeah. But
no one's gonna get that. Aren't inside jokes the best on podcasts?
Dude, inside jokes are so sick. We can explain that joke.
How about you explain it? You explain it.
All right. So when Odyssey came out, Trihex was massive.
Oh
right?
yeah, Trihex was like averaging 5K viewers a stream. It was crazy.
Just Odyssey full playthroughs. When he started speedrunning it, dude, Odyssey was just like insanely huge.
Odyssey
for a
was
lot
like
of
the hottest
streamers.
shit. It hit like 1,000 runners on its leaderboard like in a week or something.
Yeah, it beat Sunshine within
a couple weeks.
Yeah, within a couple weeks.
And it was the biggest thing ever.
And Sunshine was the third biggest at the time. So, like, I don't know if it's past like other of SM64 or Zelda, but like Odyssey was this magical thing where just like every community coalesced. It's just like, like you're a Nintendo fan, you're a speedrun fan just in general. It's just like every speedrunning community just kind of melded together. That's why it was so cool that it was like the world record holder for Majora's Mask 3D, the world like Samu, Nedia's Shaden,
from like
OOT.
Valu.
Yeah, just like a Valu from Galaxy. Just
it was a big like melting pot of world record holders.
Yeah,
in that game.
Just like every game, and it was so cool to see because those were like the contenders, but none of them were like I don't know. It's just really cool to see. And Trihex was like one of the bigger streamers, and his commands in the chat. His commands in the chat were just like !SM64 and !SMS. Where it was just like
there was a short blurb for every Mario game.
Do we have the blurbs
a command
available
for each one?
I think we have them pinned in our chat. No, we don't. Oh wait, no. This is.
Oh, do you have your own command for that?
No.
Oh.
No, I have them. They're pinned in our chat. I remember.
Let's go.
Them.
Okay, yeah, you can read them off.
So when you typed !SM64 in Trihex's chat, love Trihex. He like Trey will talk about his reaction to Trey knowing that this command existed in a second. But so when you typed !SM64 in his chat, when Odyssey was huge, it said, quote, "Comparing Odyssey to Mario 64 is dumb. Because 64 was revolutionary for its time back in 1996 with the 3D moving non-linear camera. Odyssey is a better game on account of it being more modern. That doesn't undermine the amazingness of 64. Try hard." End quote.
It's more modern.
Like, yeah, and you're just like, oh, it's like that's nice to say. It's like you can't really one-to-one compare Mario 64 to Odyssey.
That's a fair assessment.
Yeah, you type !SMS in that chat, and you get this. And I'll leave it for after. But you type !SMS and you went, quote, "Odyssey is like Sunshine, except more fluid, crispier movement, not tied to a single gimmick, parentheses, flood nozzle, end parentheses, or a single location theme, parentheses, tropical, end parentheses, and has like 5x things to do than Sunshine. Vote yeah."
5x things to do.
5x things to do.
What does that mean?
So, like, I remember sitting there in the chat and seeing !SM64 typed, and I was just like, oh, that's cool. And then seeing SMS typed, and I was just like, what the fuck is this garbage?
Yeah, and it's like not tied to a single gimmick, like Cappy. Wait, hold on. Hold on. I don't know what that means.
It's like not tied to a single gimmick, flood nozzle. And I'm just like, what? And it's
Flood is literally the same thing as Cappy.
It's just like single location theme, tropical. But it's just like the juxtaposition of like, oh, the utmost respect to Mario 64. Man, it's like the OG. It's so sick.
Yeah,
but like,
you can't criticize it. It's the first of its kind.
Yeah, and then it's just like !Sunshine. Yeah, dirt. You know,
single gimmick, tropical theme. Who cares? It's whatever.
We're gonna compare it, and we don't like it.
But that was fine because, again, it's cool to hate on Sunshine.
Yeah.
Sunshine is in the unique position where it's both cool to hate it and love it.
It is weird. But yeah, like us seeing that, we weren't like offended. We were just kind of like looking at it being like, what the fuck? Like
we were definitely laughing at that.
We were just like, wait, what? And Trey, so you had an interaction with Trihex after that.
I forget. There were two different things I had. There was a couple times when Trihex has rated me, but there was also a time when he watched the Sunshine 80% history video on his channel, or like streamed him watching it. And I want to say, I think when it happened was when he rated me, actually. And he was like, you know, he rated me, like his viewers came to my channel, a bunch of tryhards. It was sick. And I called him out as like a joke. I was like, hey, you want to explain that SMS command in your channel? What's that all about? 5x things to do in Odyssey, huh? And he was like so embarrassed, I could tell. He's like, oh, no, it's fine. I like Sunshine. It's cool. I'm just like backpedaling what I said. It was just like, it was all funny. But yeah.
Yeah, this was like, for like context, this is 4 years ago, and like, and the only reason we know that it like what it still says is because we copied it and just kind of like it's been like randomly placed in random discords just as like a funny meme.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what that in joke is, where he says 5x things to do. I hope you enjoyed
5x things to do in Odyssey. What can I say?
Talking about Twitch streams.
Is this your conversation topic you had?
No, this isn't the conversation topic. This is something I want to say before we get to the potential conversation topic. So you were talking about your YouTube video. I want to talk about my plans for streaming.
Oh boy.
Because
he's going full time, everyone. Yeah.
No. I wish. But so for the past 3 days, so including today, I've been doing 96 no resets. Just like I was doing way back in the day for 96 Shine's world record grind, essentially.
The OG Sid stream.
Yeah, like 2019 was filled with just no resets every day until I got the world record, and then I got it, and then Nanashi took it back and whatever. But so I'm starting to try that again. I'm just getting into the swing of things. So for the past 3 days, I've been doing it. I had a terrible run today, but I had to finish it because I had to be able to write it in my notepad that I finished the run. It was terrible. I was like in a funk for an hour afterwards. I was just like not.
Yeah, when I was doing 120, I can never finish those runs where it's like already going shittily an hour in.
Yeah.
Like I just had to reset those. But you got some mental prowess to finish that.
It's tough sometimes. But so I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. So for the rest of the month. So when this releases, it'll be just like another week and a half. Yeah. Yeah. When this releases, that's how much more until the end of October. Hopefully I'll get the record by then, because I realized I had to accelerate my schedule within like streaming, because I was just like, oh yeah, I want to participate in the bingo next year, because early 2022 there's going to be another bingo season, and if you are an OG member of the podcast or like listener, Trey and I participated 2 seasons ago, or I guess 1 season ago.
We got destroyed right now,
and we got messed up. Except for Trey beat the top ranked person.
I beat Ramato, who's the number 1 ranked bingoer, but I only won 2 of like my 11 games.
Yeah, and you lost to me.
So I can beat anyone, but I can also lose to anyone, probably. Yeah. So
and
just depends on how dumb I am.
we just didn't put any work into it, and I want to put work into it. I would rather put work into it and lose than not put work into it and then lose and then feel like shit.
Yeah, the thing about bingo is if you're going to do it, you got to be pretty committed, because like the bingo heads nowadays, they actually know what they're doing. Yeah. It's not just a matter of, oh, the person with better movement's probably going to win because like no one really has a solid grasp of bingo knowledge. Yeah. Like nowadays, people know how to route stuff and like sort of know like what options to go for in different scenarios. Exactly. And going up against that as just like purely going off your own movement. And again, like the gap between movement, especially in Division 1, is like a lot more narrow now. Mm-hmm. So whoever knows more is very likely to win.
Yeah. So I want to put some effort into it, and that's early next year. There's not like a firm date. It might be like January or February, but like I'm assuming the worst, or like assuming the quickest, I guess, that it's going to start in January, because it's next year for sure. I want to get a few things done stream-wise, because I had an idea last week, and I talked to you about this. Maybe you can like reiterate what your thoughts were. I don't really remember what you thought about it, but my idea is to do like a stream marathon hopefully after I get 96 record, after at least I put in an attempt for it, and then just kind of like ditch Sunshine for a bit. But I want to
did you mention this to me?
Did I mention this to you?
I don't remember this whatsoever.
Okay, so I want to do a stream marathon.
You probably mentioned this to like the bingo heads or something.
Maybe. Every conversation I have is a blur. But because I talk to a shit ton of people all the time. But
you get all the DMs.
I just get all the DMs.
I get no DMs except for Sid. It's like, hey, I want to do a podcast. I'm like, hell yeah, let's go.
Hey, when are we doing the podcast? 4-ish? I DM you.
When are we recording? Today? Oh, thank you. I wasn't aware it was today.
I was working and I was just like, it'd be funny if I just said today.
Fuck this guy. Today. Fuck you. Thank you. Now my schedule. I know what I'm doing. Thank you.
But
I can go on.
We need to play Back for Blood, by the way.
Yeah. We were gonna. But I'll let you finish your thing soon. But we all purchased the spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead, Back for Blood, and we all have it. It's all installed.
Yeah.
We were gonna play it last night, and Sid never showed up because he was working late or something.
Dude, I was working so late, and I had to be up at 6. So
yeah, that's kind of a sticky situation. So
that's tough.
What further sucks is like my schedule for it was last week, then the next 2 weeks is going to be like super early because I have to get up like at 5:30 a.m. like Monday through Friday because I have I'm going through like a training period at work. But then when I get back to like my old schedule of like 4 days a week later in the day, I should be more able to like work around my schedule. So
yeah, and what Trey means by that, he means degen a little bit.
Yeah, a little more degen because like on my usual work schedule, I can be up till like 2 a.m.
Yeah,
but on this schedule, it's like 11 a.m. at the latest, or
11 p.m.
11 p.m. Not a.m.
I had your back.
11 p.m. at the latest. So I'm like on a super normie schedule because I have to be. So
yeah, we've bought Back for Blood, but we just haven't played it yet. So the gameplay
we're gonna get around to it with like either Quaniza, KO, Dappy.
Yeah,
so.
And me, and you,
and me.
But so my stream idea. I was refighting the Vanquish boss. I refought the Vanquish boss and I beat him.
Oh yeah, Vanquish.
Yeah. So I was refighting the Vanquish boss, and as I was doing it, I was like just vamping. I was just talking about like random thoughts that I had. And I stumbled upon a thought. I don't like the idea of like marathon streams for the sake of marathon streams, where it's just like, oh, I'm going to do 24-hour stream and I'm going to just kind of like casually play games for 24 hours and try to keep myself awake. I like the idea of a challenge stream where it's just like, you have these things to do, and once you're finished them, you have the reward of potentially sleeping. You know?
So the better you do, the shorter the stream is?
Yeah. And so my idea... And
or what about like a subathon type thing where like it gets longer as more stuff happens?
That sounds like it sounds more rewarding cash money wise.
That sounds awful mental health wise.
It does. It actually does for sure.
Yeah, I would never do that.
So my idea was to do a stream marathon where it's just like I do, and let me know what you think about this. Every run I've ever done of every game in a row.
So just sunshine runs.
No. See, okay, well, it's going to be one run. It's going to be one run per game.
It's going to be like Odyssey and stuff.
Oh shit! I've done Odyssey too.
You've done Odyssey.
Oh no!
Yeah, there's no going back now. You got to play Odyssey again. Sorry.
So this is the plan, and by this time,
so every game but Odyssey.
No, I have to do every game. I've been informed since I've floated this idea. People have been like, "Oh yeah, so you're gonna do Mario Kart 64?" My first stream ever was a Mario Kart 64 150cc no skip run
with Fi-Fi, the famous streamer Fi-Fi.
Yeah, just like when I just got my computer all set up and. Like back in 2014, when nothing exists, like I wasn't even part of the
universe
community.
Was just created, nothing existed.
Yeah, ovens hadn't been filled with cold food. You know,
actually, I think at that point it just happened.
Maybe
the Yoshichi tweet, circa 2013.
But yes,
the oven Big Bang, if you will.
Since making this list. Or since making this list, people have informed me. But I will be doing so. I'm going to do a Vanquish God Hard Mode run at some point soon. After
dude, is that going to be able to be done in one sitting?
Yes.
I mean, you're a lot better now, so it probably could.
Maybe it won't be God Hard, but so there's going to be so many goddamn runs to do.
It'll be Jesus hard.
It's Vanquish, and then it's Donkey Kong Country.
Oh right, I forgot about that.
And then it's Galaxy.
Oh yeah, Galaxy. We were gonna do a 120 race of Galaxy. We never did that.
I did the 120 run on my own. I did a 120 Luigi run.
I've still never done a Luigi playthrough of Galaxy.
Yeah, so I did like a 10-hour run of Luigi Galaxy 120. what else was it? It was Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. It was Super Mario Sunshine, obviously. Mario Kart 64. Odyssey, now that you've said that.
You say Assassin's Creed?
I said Assassin's Creed.
Okay.
Ocarina of Time, glitchless any %.
Oh, yeah.
And I like was going through this list of like runs that I've done in the past, just like one-offs. And I'm like, I could try to do, until I thought of OOT any % glitchless, I was like, oh, this is totally doable. This is totally doable. And then I was
this doesn't sound possible in one day.
I want to put prep into it. And then I want to do it.
Okay, well, if you prep the runs beforehand, it's doable. But like just going in raw,
I will not go into this raw.
Yeah, that sounds like a suicide mission to me.
Like going into Assassin's Creed Brotherhood raw would still be like 7 hours, I think.
Maybe like
6?
5 hours. I don't know.
Yeah, like even though our runs from a few years ago or 2017 they were 4.5 hours long.
They were pretty bad though. We got like super lost sometimes.
Isn't it crazy that we were within 30 seconds of one another?
Was it 30 seconds?
Yeah, you got a 29 point like something, and I
thought
got
it was like a couple minutes.
30.
I thought that I finished and you were still like in the church section.
No,
was it that close? Wow. Okay,
it was like I was in the cutscene at the end.
That's absurd.
Yeah, considering it's a 4.5 hour run, we put prep in for a month, and then it's just like. And I was 10 minutes ahead really late in the game, and then I realized that I had skipped a Borgia Tower.
Oh, yeah, you totally should have won that race, by the way.
I
did so bad in early game. Like, the very first mission you do when you get to Rome, it was like a following, what was it? Like, you follow like this evil group of people.
Yeah.
Which is like half the missions in that game, by the way.
Yeah.
And you have to like secretly tail this group and like not get caught, as you do in Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
I got caught like at the very end of that mission, had to redo like the whole like 5-minute thing right out the gate. So my run didn't go so well, needless to say.
You were in such a bad mood that like if you rewatch the Assassin's Creed, like the rip skip video on my YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah, I was pissed.
That has like, it has 38K now, at least.
Oh yeah. See, the algorithm works in mysterious ways.
It's weird. It went like unviewed for years and years, and now it has 38,000 views. For no reason, but you can hear
videos get like they get a second wave.
Yeah, well, this one got its first wave.
Yeah,
and it's still continuing. But you can hear Trey in the background of my like explanation be like, "Why do I do that jump?" And he's just like super frustrated.
Yeah, I probably like just failed that following mission, and I was like, "Fuck, dude, I'm so far behind. God damn it!"
And I was just like, "Shut the fuck up, Trey. I'm doing
like, okay, this guy's already at rip skip. I'm doing this thing again. God damn it."
So you can hear that, and so yeah, that's part of it. What other games? I that feels short. I feel like I'm missing a few, but anyway, that's the thing I want to do. I want to do a little bit of prep of it, and that's why I have to accelerate this. Like if I can get 96 shines within the next 2 weeks, which is totally doable for me.
Yeah, like that's doable. Like again, never like set a time frame to get a certain time, and then like super hard commit to it, because then it can lead to like some serious disappointment.
Well, see, I'm fine with not getting it.
Because like sometimes you'll go through like a funk for like a month where like just nothing seems to do anything, or like I'll go through like mental funks for a few weeks at a time at any %, where I just like can't seem to get anything going for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Then the next couple weeks I'll be like amazing and like almost PBing multiple times in a row.
Yeah.
So depending on, I guess, the funkness of the next couple of weeks, it could happen or couldn't happen. We'll see.
The funkity.
The funkityness of your streams the next couple of weeks.
But yeah, so I'm doing the no resets to try to curb that. And at the end of October, I think I'll just be done. Like, I'll just kind of full commit to this idea, because I realize that I'm like, oh, it's October. Like, it's like I could be like, oh yeah, next year, like future Ted can deal with this, right?
That's a problem for future Ted, yeah.
Yeah, that's a problem for future Ted, where like, oh, I'll learn bingo later, but now it's the end of now it's mid-October, and I'm just sitting here going, like,
right. So your bottleneck, or like your limiting factor, is you got to prep for bingo coming up.
Yes, exactly.
I was trying to figure out like what Like, don't you have unlimited time? Like, what?
No, I want to prep for this. I want to do this soon, and then I want to prep for bingo. So
Right. Okay.
So that's my thought on what I want to do with my Twitch stream. So like if you periodically see me go live in November or December, just like with Assassin's Creed Brotherhood or Vanquish or Donkey Kong Country or Ocarina of Time or Odyssey,
you should race like Quan again or something in Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, we could do that.
I don't know if he'd be down, but I don't know.
I've improved. I think Dapper Penguino actually beat my time in it, so maybe I'll try to beat that.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Dapper is like a real speedrunner.
But like, I think I might have to actually like learn strats. You know how I don't like watching videos?
Yeah, so then you'll have me watch a video, then explain it to you,
and then explain
like a third party explanation versus just the source itself.
I might have to actually watch a video.
No, watching a video sucks.
And like make it so that these games are not nearly as long as they are. Or
yeah,
like
there's definitely some stuff. Like I learned a few things watching the world record run for Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
Yeah.
But again, there's some things that were just kind of like iffy on, like using the Ubisoft cheats and stuff to like increase our ammo and stuff.
Yeah.
We're just kind of like, or like doing the assassin glitch to like unlock the full, having like all 9 assassins.
Yeah.
Like we didn't really fuck with that, but
we also didn't know anything about it
because we made our own route, like not watching any resources. So
that was so cool.
Yeah, we recommend if you're a speedrunner or getting into speedrunning, a fun thing to do is to not just copycat like every last strat back to back to back from the record video.
Mm-hmm.
A fun thing can be just developing your own route and like seeing what you come up with and going from there.
Yeah, because Trey and I at the end of 2016 were just like, we had been memeing about it for so long, and we just kind of went, let's just for a month, let's not look at the world record. We know the world record exists, and people have done like a few runs of this, but like let's just see how it works. Let's just see how it goes.
Play through the game, and then we'll play through it again and sort of like develop our own route.
Yeah. And then we were like, sure, we were an hour behind the world record, but like we didn't do any of the same shit. Except for Nero Skip. That's the only thing we knew.
Yeah, there was a couple things that we found ourselves that's actually like also done in the record video. So
yeah,
kind of cool.
And then I found a trick that actually saved like 3.5 minutes, and which was also cool in its own right. But which is the Rip Skip video that I referenced just now. And I know we've talked about it on the podcast before. Long-time listeners are just like, yeah, we know you played Assassin's Creed Brotherhood 4 years ago. We get it. But yeah, so that's what I want to do with my stream coming up. So randomly Galaxy, randomly Odyssey. Dude, I have to play Odyssey.
Yeah. Well, Odyssey is way shorter than Galaxy.
I did like 4 attempts of Odyssey. I did 1 run of Galaxy.
That's more than I thought it was.
I did 4.
I thought you were going to say like 2.
I got a 124.10, and that's not even top 1,000. Isn't that crazy?
There's a lot of Odyssey runners.
That's top.
Yeah,
not even top 1,000.
Top 1,000 in Sunshine is like 210 or something. Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Not nearly as optimized as Odyssey top 1,000.
It's like within, because this was like within 3 months of the release, because I played it casually first. I wasn't like day one. What was the guy that ran Odyssey like day one? It was like Monkey King.
I have no idea what his name was.
I think it was Monkey King.
I forget.
I can't remember. But yeah, like I'm not one of those guys, and I think we've talked about it on the podcast where it's just like being that guy, like Luigi's Mansion 3, we were talking about it. Being that guy to immediately speedrun the game.
Yeah,
like
it's very enticing and tempting to immediately when a new popular game comes out, rush to be the first world record holder.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, almost no one ever remembers who the first record holder of a game actually was.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's a tempting. It's like a monkey's paw because you're sort of ruining your initial casual experience for like a drop of clout.
You're just
that will vanish in an instant. So
you just try to speed run your first playthrough, and like I really liked my first playthrough of Odyssey.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that game. It's a game that was like a really fun experience, and I thought it was excellent. It has no replay value to me.
Mm-hmm. Which makes sense. But yeah, I'm gonna have to play that. So that's my plan for the stream coming up. So it's like starting November, I'll start prepping games and try to stream every day or so trying to like.
That's
dude,
cool.
It's gonna be like 2 months of prep for like 10 games. So it's like I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but it's gonna be it's gonna be fun.
Is your goal to like, or are you like going to have
be able to do it in one day?
Is there going to be like any monetary incentives or anything, or just like doing it for the fun of it?
Probably no. I don't have any
sub
idea
goals?
past that. I could do a sub goal.
Sub goal.
That'd be interesting. But
How about like if we hit 100 subs, I'll play Odyssey.
Oh yeah, just like do the whole list and it's just like okay. But if I get 100
if we get
subs,
to this many subs, I'll play this game.
Oh, that'd be interesting. I feel like that's too much on people though. I don't know. Yeah. I kind of want to just do the challenge entirely, but who knows?
Okay.
Anyway,
that's cool.
So that's my thought. My discussion topic.
Oh boy.
YouTube voice.
YouTube voice.
YouTube voice. So I was listening, like I was saying earlier, on this pod.
Is this about how like everyone sounds kind of weird in voiceovers?
Yes.
Myself included?
Maybe.
I definitely don't sound like I talk casually when I'm making a video.
Yes. And I was listening to, the reason I wrote this down is because I was listening to The Yard earlier and they were talking about it. They were analyzing like Ludwig's voice or Ludwig's like YouTube voice. And I thought to myself, it's just like, you don't like casually talk in your YouTube voice or your emphasized voice, right?
Yeah, and when I make a video, I will try to be as not coherent, what's the word? Articulate as possible. Mm-hmm. But it's a very heightened version of how I normally sound. Mm-hmm. Like on the podcast, you'll hear me just talk sort of, I'll slur my words a little bit and like sort of glance over or like not always articulate stuff perfectly.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll articulate. I'm getting better about this as I do more videos. But like especially early on, my earlier videos, you can definitely hear I'm sort of over-articulating in a way to where it sounds unnatural sometimes. Mm-hmm. And it's the hardest thing doing voiceovers. As the years go on, I gain more and more respect for voice actors because sounding natural or like fitting a role and not sounding stilted is extremely difficult.
Yeah.
And something as simple as reading a script for a YouTube video, I am so amateur at like sounding a combination of natural, but also like easily understandable, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's definitely like, it's a skill I'm trying to work on, but I've never liked my voice. I mean, it is my own voice. No one likes their own voice usually, but I could definitely use a lot of work in terms of like how my voiceovers, the way that I execute them, I guess.
Sure.
So it's tough. And like every video, I feel like I get a little bit better, but I got a long ways to go still.
See, the only voiceover I've ever done is for the 120
the Doodan clip.
Yeah, the Doodan clip. And
you knocked it out of the park, I gotta say.
Because back in the day, I used to do like movie voice. Like I used to do like yeah.
Like shit like
that. I haven't done it in years, so
dude, every stream you do, you'd always do that.
Oh yeah, fuck. I'm gonna butcher this, but it's like scream less. Fuck,
scream less.
That was so bad. But I used to do it like
you're
all the time.
You're out of practice. It's fine.
I'm so out of practice. But when I was like 21 or 22, I would, when I had my old job where I had like an hour and a half of distance to drive, like there and back sometimes. And like I would literally sit in my car and I would like to play, like I don't know where my old iPod Touch is, but if I found it, there are old recordings of me just like talking along in movie voice to music playing on the radio. And I would do that stuff. And like, but when you asked me to do the 120 Shines World Record History video, but like quote, I was just like, oh, I could just record my voice. And then I was sitting at my dining room table, with it in my hand. And I think you had asked me for like, just like, oh, are you going to do it? Maybe like I hadn't responded to it.
Come on, you're taking a while here. Come on. Son.
Yeah. Like maybe something like that. And I was about to go, to work and, I was just like, fuck it. And I just recorded on my phone the Doodan that you hear in the 120 world record history video. And I sent it to you as kind of like a meme. I was like basically testing the water. Like I could just like record it like I just read the like exclamation point SMS or exclamation point SM64 that I just read, but just like in my regular voice. But you responded like pretty quickly, being like, "Yeah, that's fucking awesome," and I was just like, "Cool."
I remember opening up the audio clip, and I was dying of laughter because I was expecting just like a typical like Sid talking voice, just reading the line. But no, you're like, the thing that amazes me most.
The thing that amazes me most about.
I was like, dude, this is so zany, but I just want to use it. Fuck it.
Yeah. So I was just
again, don't be afraid to get silly with it in YouTube videos. All right.
But that's the only like voiceover I've ever done. And other than that, I feel like my amplified self is basically either on stream or on the podcast. Where it's like, I try to be as articulate as I can. Like I don't have the same outlet you do where it's just like, oh, I'm recording these small voice lines and posting them on a YouTube video about spin jumping, and then this guy Noki Doki is going to take samples and just put all of these in a row. But yeah, I don't have that. But I feel like in every conversation, I feel like I'm like the same level. Am I wrong?
You mean you sound like you would sound normally?
Do I not?
I feel like you sound just like I'd be talking to you outside of a podcast.
Okay.
And I feel like I sound casual right now too. Like I sound different in one of my videos versus me just talking right now.
I feel like the only way that I change in the podcast is like I pay attention more. Like the only thing that I'm doing is I have like on my monitor right now is this Discord conversation, or like this Discord and like, I don't know, another thing that I just like have in the background that I'm just like, that's just sitting still.
Oh, well, yeah. So comparing a podcast to just a regular Discord call, in a Discord call, especially in a group, you don't always have to be present in the moment.
Uh-huh.
You can sort of just like hear what's going on in the background, like maybe jump in with something. Even in a 1v1 talk, like you don't always have to be like on top of everything they're saying. You'd be like, oh, repeat that. What was that?
Yeah.
Whereas like in a podcast, you have no reason not to have 100% of your attention on the other person.
Yeah.
So maybe that affects things, but
well, like
not really. So.
We talked about it before, where it's just like with online Discord, you just you have that extra barrier where you can be like, yeah, I wasn't paying attention, sup. And like in person, like at Thanksgiving, there was no way like I could have eye contact with somebody, or like the eye contact portion of like real conversation is very important.
Oh yeah, non-verbal cues people sleep on.
Yeah, and like in Discord, it's slept on that you just kind of don't have to do that. You can just like, I could be playing Rocket League, and then people can be talking to me. I'm like, oh, sup? What's up? How's it going?
That's part of why I don't think that. I think that webcams, if we did webcam on this podcast, it would definitely change the whole vibe, because we would definitely be like, we would have to always look like we're paying attention. Or
yeah,
I mean, I'm paying attention, but it would always have to like focus on like how you look visually. It would like sort of take away from it a little bit.
Yeah,
I just like being able to talk and like not really care what I'm doing with my hands and stuff.
Yeah, because we have the capability. Like I own 2 webcams.
Yeah, we stream with webcam normally. It's easy.
And like we have the capability of doing this, but like we're kind of sitting here being like I'm looking at my Joy-Cons as I'm talking right now. Like I have my Joy-Cons on my desk, and I'm just like looking at my Joy-Cons.
I'm holding a pen, tempted to click it out of like regular stuff. Like if I click it, it'll pick up on the mic, so I'm not clicking it. But
like the amount of times I've taken off my blue light glasses during this recording and put them back on my face.
Yeah, and like it's silly because whenever I listen to a podcast, I never look at the video part. I always just like have it listening in the background.
Mm-hmm.
With the exception of like, there were some Tiny Meat Gang episodes like more recently when they are like in the UFO, they have like a whole UFO setup where it's like a lot of visual stuff added to it. Yeah. Unless like a visual thing is a big part of it outside of just like a webcam, I will only do audio for podcasts, because like my go-to place for podcasts is at the gym. I'll just like have it in like my earbuds when I'm working out. Like 98% of the time when I'm listening to a podcast, that's where it is. So.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing that. Like, I got YouTube Premium, and I can just listen to whatever podcast I want. Just click off my phone and put it in my pocket. And
yeah, as expensive as people might think it is, YouTube Premium is pretty nice.
Yeah, I think it's so sick.
And like no ads on mobile.
I got the free 1 month, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm getting the second month. This is so nice.
I might get a third month. I might get a 4 month.
What?
Boom.
But like randomly, the video podcasts that I listen to, they go like, oh, and I was like this, and I was like,
oh yeah, it's like, well, I'm not watching, so I guess I'm missing this now.
Yeah, I'm just missing. I could turn on my phone, but I'm not going to rewind. Like, so like Trey and I could record our like faces and be like, oh, I was like this, and then you would be able to see my reaction of like, oh, wide open mouth. But I also could just describe it. It's like, oh, I was interacting with my brother at Thanksgiving, and we were just like, holy shit, and we just started. I don't know.
And it is kind of funny. Like, I remember like the Gus and Eddie podcast is sort of self-aware of it, where they're like, we hate the audio listeners, screw you guys. And that like they sort of joke about that because like they'll sometimes visually do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like if you're one of those loser audio listeners, you won't see this, but
yeah. I don't know. Like I like that we don't use podcasts. I like that we don't use a podcast.
Yeah, in fact, this is not a real podcast. It's just I don't know what this is.
This is episode 1, take 17.
I like how this podcast doesn't use a podcast.
I like that this podcast doesn't ever commit to an episode 2.
Yeah, I feel like, and I don't know, I feel like there's the maybe like a more level of intimacy when there's no webcam, strangely enough. It feels more akin to just like a regular Discord call that like people are like sort of just listening in on.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know. It's just different.
I know that I talk to like parts of this podcast. I do talk to the people. Like, it's just like, oh, Trey and I. Like, like in a podcast with you one-on-one, I wouldn't say like Trey and I, because you're fucking here. Hey, you.
Because I'm right here.
Hey, how's it going? But, just like, I don't know. I like talking to the Pasueto audience, you know? And, what was I going to say? There was something I was going to say.
I don't know. Were you?
I was there.
I have a thing you were thinking about that.
Go for it.
I was going to go back to more of like the YouTube voice thing.
Sure.
I mean, I know you watch a lot of 5-hour analyses of Doctor Who and stuff.
Like 3, but yeah. Go off.
But like, out of like all the YouTube you watch, where it's the typical, kind of like the videos I make, where it's like a voiceover and like showing random clips and stuff. Like, do you think that most YouTubers do a pretty good job of like sounding mostly natural with their voiceovers? Or like, are there some you listen to where it's like, they sound kind of unnatural, but like the content's interesting enough that it's fine? Like, where do you stand on that?
I never... I think there's been like a handful of videos. Is
it like ever like too distracting for you?
No.
Okay.
I don't think there's ever been a video where maybe there has. Maybe that one video we were talking about, the Twilight Princess analysis.
Oh yeah, I couldn't watch more than like 5 minutes of it.
But maybe that's just him. Yeah. But
it wasn't my cup of tea.
It's just like maybe he sounded natural, but like but I don't know. It depends on like how much of a veteran they are, and like how used to just recording their own voice they are. Like the 5-hour analyses. Like,
well, I guess I'm thinking more, because those are going to be more casual sounding because it's so long.
Yeah.
I guess more like a 20-minute video of like a random, like a niche topic that you would picture, like maybe a speedrun history video or something. I don't know what I'm asking.
I'm trying to figure out what you're asking.
Like, is it, like, what percentage of stuff that you watch do you think, like, oh, this could be better if they sounded more natural?
0.
So you think, like, no matter, like, how, like, even if it's like, oh, they're just reading a script, blah, blah, blah. I mean, they are.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't really care if it sounds, like, the way that they're enunciating stuff sounds.
I don't
peculiar.
think it's ever affected any way that I watch anything.
Okay, because I always think about that, like, especially when I go back to like my older videos. I'm so distracted by why do I sound like a weirdo? but then I think I do
notice the difference between like old Trey videos and new Trey videos.
Yeah,
I do.
you can actually, with like pretty much any YouTube channel that's been around for like more than 5 years, it's kind of crazy. If you go back to like their older stuff and compare it to their newer stuff, they will always sound quite a bit different. Like they'll either like be more energized or they'll sound more natural, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But like typically people will improve the more videos you make, the more natural you can be when just reading off a script.
Yeah.
You got to develop that skill. Like no one, unless you're just like a natural born voice actor like SM Loader, no one just like comes out of the womb and like can just read a script naturally.
I feel like it comes from like an ability to be a public speaker. Like even though you're not in public, like being able to public
even though
speak,
you can redo a sentence over and over again.
yeah. Like it does extend from that. And like I used to be terrible at public speaking at like school. Like we were talking about it a little bit last week.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, you were talking about a speech you did.
There was
college.
a speech. Like I was in public speaking in college because like it's a pretty general class most people have to take at some point.
Yeah,
I remember this one speech I gave. I wasn't even that nervous, but I remember just like I was shaking for some reason.
Yeah,
just giving this speech, I was like, my body was shaking and I couldn't physically stop shaking.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, I guess this is my life for the next 2 minutes.
Yeah, I guess I just have to.
I hope no one can see this.
But I remember like a few speeches back in school where I was just like, I have to stare at this sheet because if I look up at people, I will die. Like I will.
Oh yeah, like they just have like that blank cold stare at you. It's like, oh God, what are they thinking? But like the key thing is to realize that if I were in their shoes, like, do I give a shit about what they're saying?
No, it's just like
probably
the kid
not.
Like, if I'm sitting there and I'm still to go up, I'm sitting there going like, I hope this guy takes as long as possible so that I have to do it next time we do this class.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what I'm praying for. Like when we had a presentation in religion, it was religion in like
religion class.
Yeah, religion class in grade 11, I think. And or was it religion or was it? Fuck, it wasn't religion. It was a.
Was that a class where you just learn about all different religions?
There is a religion class.
Like, yo, we're gonna talk about Buddhism.
No.
We're gonna talk about whatever ism.
Fuck. Was it just philosophy? It was philosophy class. And in grade 11, we had philosophy class, and there was like a random presentation where this guy, I don't remember what the assignment was, but he was talking about, he drew this Bristol board and he drew the word art. And it's like, what is art? And the conversation lasted the entire class. And me and my partner were the next people to go up. And we were just like, this conversation, like, we're not participating in this, but it's insane. This is lasting so long. We might have like another day to work on this. And that's what we were waiting for. So like when you're doing a public speech in class or whatever, nobody cares how well you're doing unless it's like good. If it's bad, nobody's going to sit there, or maybe some people will sit there and go like, wow, this guy's lol XD, terrible. But like most people are sitting there going like, yeah.
Most people are still just like dead inside from like the general school stuff.
Yeah.
Waking up at 7 a.m. or earlier every day.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care what you're saying.
Exactly. Well, yeah. And that's a good way to think about it.
Except like, I mean, like the teacher would care. Like there's that thought, but like, you know, even then it's not a big deal.
But yeah, that's what I was thinking about in relation to that. The point I wanted to bring up about webcam was that I couldn't think of before was it's more casual without webcam because we'd be pressured to like sit up.
Yeah, always having to like look like you care like visually.
Yeah.
Is so exhausting sounding.
Like you said just in general, it would change it. And it would change it because I would be like thinking about how I looked.
Yeah,
like
I would always be thinking like, oh, I'm looking over here now. Like that's going to show up on here.
Yeah.
But if it's just voice, I can look wherever I want, and you know, it's chill.
Mm-hmm. And
so I like doing it this way. There was a period where I was considering when we go into season 2, do we use webcam or not? And you were like, nah. And I was like, yeah, I kind of agree. So.
We were thinking about doing it live though.
Oh yeah, we could still do like a live format if we wanted to at some point.
I don't know. That'd be interesting.
I don't know what event or something would necessitate that. But it's always an option, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, overall the YouTube voice thing,
sounding natural when reading something is tough.
And it takes a lot of practice.
You may think
For
it's
sure.
easy, like, oh, I could do that, just sound like I'm talking, but I've made like 10 different high effort videos, and it's getting, I'm a little better at it now than like my first video, but I'm still, I got a lot to learn. Like I could take like vocal coaching or something if I was like super try hard about it, but
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to go like to that extent. So
it's see, I feel like my biggest issue is just that, like, even while I was reading that SM64 versus SMS or whatever versus Odyssey thing, I did like randomly, like, I'm not a bad reader. I'm really good at reading, but like when I read out loud, sometimes I just like emphasize the wrong word, and then I just kind of like screw up, and then I just kind of like pause for a second. I'm just like, damn.
And that's the good thing, is that when you're making a video, you can just redo that sentence over and over again. So like you memorize, okay, here I got to emphasize that word, here I got to do this. All right, we're good.
Yeah, and then recording the podcast, we just have bullet points, and we don't have like.
This is definitely like a serious challenge for me, because I'm not like the streaming type. I'm not as like off the cuff. I'm more, I gotta like really calculate every frame of like the video I make. Whereas the podcast, I'm just sort of on the fly. Whatever comes out. I mean, I can always edit stuff out if I want to, but in general, it's like one take. In one take, how can I sound and stuff?
Yeah, and when we were talking about the like nervousness in front of, like, totally unrelated, we were just talking about just like public speaking and whatever. For some, I don't remember what we like in DMs we were talking about public speaking and like random experiences we had, and I was talking about the fact that I think that with the podcast, I've figured out how to like with one attempt, I've figured out how to couch things really well. Like how to present a thing without really thinking about it much, and just kind of on the fly presenting it in a way that's pleasing. And maybe you can argue, like maybe a viewer can be like, yeah, you're not as good as you think you are at that. But I don't know. I feel like I'm getting yeah, it's just like, hey, Sid, you're wrong. But yeah, I think I've gotten a lot better at that with podcasting and Twitch. Like streaming on Twitch, I would have never been like imagining, like, sure, I'm sitting alone at my computer, but like the idea that I'm being broadcast to people and you can kind of ignore that you're being broadcast to people is very beneficial to like being able to public speak. I feel where it's just like, I feel like public speaking is the next level of Twitch streaming, where it's just like you can just kind of ignore that everybody's there. And
yeah, it's a little harder when public speaking is like they're there in the room with you.
Yeah, it's the next difficulty level. when
you stream for like a few months, it gets pretty easy to just like tune out the fact that you're being broadcasted.
Yeah.
So
I know that my sister she's engaged, and she's like been planning her wedding for a while. Because COVID and everything, so it's hard to figure out like when to do everything and how to do everything and whatever. But I know she wants me to do a speech at her wedding. And years ago, I would have been like, no shot. But I'm sitting there going like, I could probably do it. Like I don't know if I'd want to, but like
you can make it short and sweet.
Sure,
doesn't have to be anything crazy, anything groundbreaking.
Yeah, but like. My point is that like standing in front of a bunch of strangers, like I'm not like that close with my sister.
Just think of it like it's your Twitch chat.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. So like it's I don't know how we got here from like YouTube voice, but
maybe streaming being more popular is making people better at public speaking.
Maybe, and just like more boisterous in general, like more boisterous in just like random conversation, being better at like literally Twitch streaming probably makes people way better at small talk.
Right. Which I normally hate small talk in person, but I mean, on Twitch, it's sort of like, I don't know, it's not so bad. You can just sort of do it.
Like you have your friends in your chat that you know, and you can just kind of like talk about whatever. But most of the time, like when people come in, it's just like, oh, good luck. Hey. And you're just like, yeah, hey, what's up? How's it going?
Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh yeah. and then you just talk about like food for 30 minutes, and then you
So my
focus on the
favorite
speedrun.
fast food is this, and the second best fast food is that. And
Anybody that orders pineapple on pizza is crazy, and then you just kind of like
that is actually like a genuine. I forget where it was. There was like a tip on some Twitch streaming, how to engage viewers better or something, and it was something on the sort of, when you have no conversation topic to talk about, just talk about food.
exactly.
Because everyone eats food. Just mention, oh, has anyone ever been to Wendy's recently? Or like, what's your favorite thing to get at Chipotle? Or I don't know, stuff like that.
It does suck to talk about food when you have not eaten breakfast.
Oh yeah, dude. I swear, it always comes around when it's like toward the end of my stream and I'm like starving.
Yeah.
I'm like, can we change the subject?
Can we not
think about food right now?
I was just like, oh man, I have a donut in my fridge I could eat. And just like focus totally on that for 30 minutes, and then I was just like, I'll just run that.
I could finish this run, but I mean,
there's a donut.
McDonald's sounds so good right now, so yeah. I gotta go, guys.
Yeah, and to talk about Wendy's or whatever, but yeah, that's definitely a thing you can do. But like, I don't know how we got here from fucking YouTube voice, but still, I don't know. I feel like I'm way better at just like talking than I was like probably 9 years ago.
I'm definitely better than I was. When I listen back to myself from like 2014 streams, I sound, I don't know, I sound like a different person.
Yeah.
I'm in like a different dimension or something.
We still have to do our like review of our first ever Skype call.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be what, like when we're we gonna do that again?
Oh, we were gonna do it for season 2, like the start of season 2.
I thought it was gonna be like the end of it or something.
We could do it for the end.
End of season 2?
Whenever the end of season 2 is, we can just
the grand finale.
Yeah, we can do. So there's. I guess this will be the last thing we talk about because we're an hour and 55 in.
Yeah, we should probably wrap this up soon.
but our Trey and I's first ever conversation, like oral conversation, is recorded, and it's a personal best video of Super Mario Sunshine for me back in 2014 when we did our first race ever. And
yeah, it's a Sid PB with us doing a race, and it's highlighted because it's a PB.
And so it's just like Trey and I had interacted in DMs a probably very minuscule amount where it's just like, oh, hey, you want to race? And he's just like, oh, yeah, this noob wants to race me or some garbage. And
I wasn't even that good. I had like a 121.
I was like
slightly better than you.
I'm a god at this game. This guy's a 124. This guy's an idiot. But yeah, we did our first race and it's recorded, and I haven't listened to it in a while. I think we started listening to it.
I listened to bits and pieces of it, and I was like, this would actually be good to save this for a special moment.
Yeah, and we could just kind of like live, like have like a watch party of
you know
and
what?
I.
That's going to be our live podcast.
We'll do a live podcast of that.
That'd be hype
with our webcams.
With our own webcams, yeah.
With our
and
webcams,
then like your old webcam on the original video feed.
Oh yeah. My long hair. It looks like I have longer hair then, but I have so much longer hair now, but it's just tied up. But yeah, it's just from 7 years ago, just a conversation, an hour long that we've barely ever like referenced not referenced the existence of, but we've never reviewed. And we've never been like, what did we talk about? Like, we're just two kids that don't know each other, and we're just kind of talking over a race. And it's just kind of like dumb. But then like 8 years later, here we are.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll get to that at some point. But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of wanted to talk about just general shit. We
were talking about the video, then just whatever other stuff. We had a good conversation topic.
Yeah. And yeah, that was take 17 of episode 1.
Still episode 1. We'll get it right sometime. I promise. Maybe.
Eventually in episode 2 will be recorded.
Episode 2 will be when we react to the thing.
Episode 2 is reaction to the thing. But yeah, that was that's been Video Games Are Hard. Google Podcasts?
Spotify.
We're on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Sid N Trey on YouTube.
If the letter N, not IN. That's gross.
If you don't have, if you know, that's referencing the end of the last episode.
Yeah.
If you made it to that.
What I did there was I was overemphasizing the end so it didn't sound like and. I was like, if it sounds like ands, they'll get confused and like search Sid Ands Trey and like, where's the channel? But no, I overthought it. So
SIDNTREY.
Just the letter N. All right, it's simple. Okay,
that's the YouTube channel. You can subscribe. You can leave a comment. I'm very good about responding to comments. Trey's getting better about responding to comments.
I'm okay at it. I will read all the comments.
Yeah,
so.
And we'll. I guess that's the end of episode 17, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.